what's up guys, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm on the street, and the other day, Google held their 2014 I/O developer keynote. And today I'm going to tell you about the highlights from that keynote. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to go through the topics sort of in the order that Google announced them. At the beginning of the presentation, Google seemed to be focusing on minorities and third world groups. They announced Android One, and I'm not entirely clear on what this is. Apparently, it's a version of Android that is low spec and it can run on low cost hardware. And that's apparently going to help Google break into emerging markets throughout the world. So places that might not have been able to afford smartphones in the past will now be able to afford low power smartphones powered by Android One. But something that's more relevant for us, Android L, which is the next major version of Android. Android L has a brand new design, just like iOS 7 did. Big surprise. The design is very flat and very simple, once again, just like iOS. You're going to see this design in updated versions of Google's web apps as well as Android apps, and it's based around material design, which uses 3D animations to provide a sense of depth within the operating system. It provides consistency between apps. It's not 3D, but it's 2D with apps. So when app developers are going and drawing objects on the screen, they can specify a depth value for objects, and Android will automatically draw shadows and create animations based on the depth of those objects. So the idea here is that nothing just pops onto the screen anymore. Apparently, everything is animated. Everything on the screen. A quote from one of the people who gave that presentation is, "Animate every change on screen." Direct quote. So I'm thinking that might get a little annoying. But some other design changes include Android adjusting UI colors, so the status bar color and the color of the buttons at the bottom, to match whatever's on the screen at a certain time. So if the app you're using has a lot of blue in it, then those bars might turn blue, or if there's green, or whatever the dominant color in the app is. And once again, every single button on the screen now has an animation when you touch it. I think that that's going to be a problem for lower-end phones, but apparently not. More importantly than design are all of the new features in Android L. And while there's not a lot, there are a few. For one thing, notifications are now on your lock screen. I'd just like to interject here. That's not useful if you use passcodes or pattern unlocks, because I don't want people seeing my notifications without my phone being unlocked. However, assuming you don't care about having a passcode or anything on your device, yeah, notifications are now on your lock screen, and the lock screen now is the notification drawer. When you turn your phone off and then back on, it's as if your notification drawer is pulled down, or the notification shade, whatever you call the thing that comes down from the top of your screen like this. Yeah, it's basically like that's pulled down all the time, and then you swipe up to unlock your phone. A new version of notification is heads-up notification, which basically pops up a little window, and you can either ignore it or you can take direct action, such as replying to a text message. We for sure already had this in iOS, and I thought we already had it in Android. I don't really see how that's new. One thing that is useful, you can now have a smartwatch or GPS location unlock your phone for you. So let's say that you have a smartwatch. Whenever the smartwatch is near your phone, the phone will not require a password. But whenever your smartwatch is not near your phone, then it does require a passcode. Or let's say I specify my home using GPS. Whenever my phone is in my house, then it will not require a pattern to unlock. But whenever I walk outside or go somewhere else, then it will require a pattern to unlock. That's pretty neat. In addition to native apps, Google is trying to take material design to the mobile web as well. Google now has a tool called Polymer, which is basically a programming language that web developers can use to design the front ends of their website. And it's worth noting that Google also has a JavaScript alternative called Dart that programmers can use for the back end of their website. So Google's basically got an app programming language for the internet. The recent apps tool on Android now uses cards separated by depth rather than the thumbnails that we're used to seeing. Normally we've got this just list of apps, but now there are actually going to be large cards that you can scroll through, sort of like a Rolodex. And yeah, Chrome will show separate tabs or windows as separate cards. So it's going to be app, and then if you've got 20 tabs open, then there's going to be 20 cards just for Chrome. I hope there's a way to disable that. But it does show that Google's wanting people to get into web apps, even if they don't want to design native Android apps. Just another thing about Chrome real quick. Both Chrome and Safari show simplified URLs rather than full URLs. So let's say that you're at newyorktimes.com/articlename.htm. Your address bar is now just going to show newyorktimes.com. It will not show the /whatever. And that could be a problem with people phishing and pretending that you're on different websites than you actually are on, or it could help with phishing because you're more likely to recognize an error in the main URL of a website than you are in the rest of the page names. So we'll see what happens with that. But that is both on Android and on the desktop, that both Google Chrome and Apple Safari now show those simplified URLs, which is kind of abstracting the way the internet works at this point. Once again, moving towards web apps. A new feature in the Google Search app: if a Google search result leads to a website that you have an app installed for, in the past, you might click on that search result, load it up in your web browser, and then the website would say, hey, you've got this app installed. Would you like to go there? Now, the Google Search app takes care of that for you. So if you've got the app installed, then you will tap on the result and it will automatically just open up in the app without taking you to the website at all. Definitely good for app developers because they don't have to program that functionality into their websites, and good for you because you will get directed straight to the app that you're looking for rather than going through a website. Also, Android L uses the new Arch runtime rather than Dalvik, and what that does is it runs code before it actually needs to. So that's going to take advantage of newer processors, and it is going to apparently help speed up the entire system and avoid lag with all these new animations. Hoping that that's true and that will actually help the new animations. In addition, Arch supports 64-bit processors when they're available, and that is a big thing because, if Google and Apple want us to start using touchscreens as our day-to-day machines, we're going to need 64-bit processors as we start doing more and more on our mobile devices. The new Android extension pack has some features that will improve graphical performance in games, allowing developers to easily put in things like shaders and lighting and not bog down the system too much. So once again, seeing a direct parallel. Apple had Metal and some stuff to help with iOS gaming. Now Google's got the Android extension pack for Android gaming. Next, we have Project Volta, which is supposedly they went and tried to improve battery life and battery monitoring on Android. You can see what's using your battery and when it's being used. The ROMs that I use, the Android installations that I use, usually include some sort of battery monitoring utility in them. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how Project Volta really improves upon the good tools we already had. Now, Google actually talked about Google Play services, and we all know that Android is fragmented. We've still got phones running Android 2.2. And then, Android 3.0 was just for tablets, and then we've got 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, and, we've got a wide array of devices. Not all of them are running the same Android version, unfortunately, because carriers like to grab Android versions and customize them, but sometimes by the time the carriers get done customizing the Android versions, Google releases more. So Google said actually that even though only a very small amount of devices today are running the newest version of Android, almost 90%, or I think it was over 90% of devices are running the newest version of Google Play services. And that automatically updates all of Google's stock apps, and it also includes security patches, malware definitions, and things that will keep your device secure. And that's pretty big because it lets Google keep your device updated even when your carrier doesn't want to keep your device updated, or even when the OEM doesn't want to keep your device updated. You can update your Android experience without actually updating Android itself. We've got factory reset protection, which lets you lock your stolen phone remotely. We've seen lots of advocates for that just in the media. The new version of Android is contextually aware. It will show you notifications when they are relevant. So you might get notifications from a game while you're at home, whereas while you're at work, you'll get notifications from emails. Basically, it's going to try not to distract you based on the environment you're in. Android now has a feature called Seamless, which is basically Apple's continuity for Android. I'm pretty sure that if you've got an Android phone and an Android tablet, you can now respond to texts through your Android tablet. I'm not sure if you can do that. I do know for sure that if you have a Chromebook and an Android phone, you can respond to text messages and pick up calls on your Chromebook. So that's nice, I guess. Maybe if we see that integrated in the Chrome browser itself, then that would be really good. Probably more useful than if it was just in Chrome OS. Here's a big one a lot of people were talking about. Google announced Android Wear, which is basically Android OS and a new API specifically for smartwatches, of course. Because, smartphones and tablets are so 3 years ago. Now we're into wearable tech. No, it's not gimmicks. It's the future of technology. Basically, Android Wear is Google Now for watches. And the watch vibrates when your phone receives a notification. You can swipe between different Google Now cards on your watch. It is very useful if A, you use the Chrome browser, and B, if you have location data on your phone turned on. And how do I know that? Because I use Android and I use Google Now. And Google Now itself is only useful if you use the Chrome browser and if location data is turned on. Because a lot of what Google Now serves you is based on your browsing history, updates to websites that you visit, and is based on where you go. It'll tell you how far away you are from home or how long it'll take you to get to work this morning. And those things, they are really, really useful if you want to allow Google to have access to those aspects of your life. If you want to let Google see your browsing history and keep track of your physical location history, then it's going to be a really cool experience being able to access all that relevant information. But if you don't want to share those things with Google, Google Now actually does not give me that many cards. So yeah, since Android Wear is Google Now for watches, then yeah, it's going to be the same thing. It depends on if you're using Google's ecosystem or not. Google really pointed out that if you swipe away a notification on your watch, it immediately goes away on your phone, even if it's turned on. You don't have to turn the screen off and reload or anything. If you swipe away on your phone, it will immediately swipe the notification away on your watch as well, which is to be expected. It's all in the cloud. You can control music playing on your phone through your watch. You can set alarms just by saying set an alarm for this time, just like we could already with Google Now. And I use Google Now for that feature. I use this tablet as my alarm clock. I get done reading at night and then I say set an alarm for whatever time. I use that feature. I think that's a useful feature. But adding it to a watch, it's not going to be that much more useful than it already was. You can be alerted to nearby locations, like if a friend mentioned a certain restaurant on Pinterest, then your watch will alert you if you're near that restaurant, and then you can initiate navigation, which will then take place on your phone. You can quickly repeat habitual online orders. So let's say you order a pizza, the same kind of pizza, at the same time, the same day every week. Then after a few weeks, Google Now will be like, hey, you're going to do the same thing you did last week and the week before and the week before, aren't you? And you can click yes, and it will automatically do your standard order. Now you can't actually browse websites and customize your order through your watch. You'd have to get your phone out to do that. But assuming you want the exact same thing every week, then yeah, you can do that through your watch instead of having to take your phone all the way out of your pocket to order your meal. Now it's interesting, all of the apps on your watch are provided by your phone. They all reside on your phone. The watch does not actually plug into anything to install apps. It's all installed on the watch based on what's installed on your phone, goes through the cloud once again. So when you install an app on your phone, the watch version of the app is automatically installed. And when you update the version on your phone, it will automatically update the watch version. That's great because now, watch manufacturers can create better form factors that don't include bulky connectors. They don't have to work a USB port into your watch anymore. We can have proprietary charging, but still have the Android OS on it and still receive all of the apps from the open source software. We just don't have to worry about having the hardware there anymore. Third-party apps can let you view and navigate lists on your watch. So if you've got a cookbook app and you're going through a recipe, you can swipe down the recipe on your watch. I know this is not a smartwatch, but I'm demonstrating swiping. And then, yeah, the last thing they said was LG, Samsung, and Motorola all made watches. LG and Samsung's watches were square, kind of like Apple's iPod Nanos back when they made them not have any buttons on them. And then Motorola made one that's a circle. And I'd say it's about this big, as big as my normal watch. I haven't seen one in person, though. I think it's actually bigger. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a circle display, but there's a bar on the bottom. It's almost a full circle. And then a bar on the bottom for the display hardware. Apparently, Google is going to automatically optimize watch apps for the circle display. So it's not like you're going to have to develop a separate app for the circle version than you would for the square version. Next, once again, we are past tablets and phones. We need more devices connected to the internet now. So why not cars? We now have Android Auto. We all know it's dangerous to use your phone in your car. So why not make it easier to use your phone in your car? Apps such as navigation apps and music apps are now easiest to get to when you're in the car. And at first I thought that they were talking about on your phone's screen, but apparently you actually have to have a car with the screen in it, and then you have to plug your phone into the car's screen for this to work. So if you've got a car without a screen in it, then none of the Android Auto stuff is really going to apply to you. I hope they make an app for it so that you can mount a phone in an older car and still take advantage of these features. But for the cars that have screens in them, the car's screen takes over your phone with the Android Auto UI. Like I said, it's going to pull large icons for navigation and music apps. The idea is everything is very large, so you don't have to look at it very long, and it's not going to be much harder to adjust your Android Auto, experience than it would be to adjust the car radio. So Google Maps has really great navigation. I actually really like using the Google Apps navigation. And now, instead of using it on your phone screen, you can use it on your car's screen. If you've got a compatible car, once again, your steering wheel could have built-in music controls, just like some already do, or your car could have a built-in Google Now button on the steering wheel, so you don't have to take your hands off the wheel, but you can say, play songs from this band, or navigate me to this location. And that could be useful, once again, if you've got location data turned on. And all that other good stuff. Now, Google actually started something called the Open Auto Alliance a while ago. And what that sounds like is you won't actually have to go out and buy an Android car. There's going to be a bunch of cars that are certified by the Open Auto Alliance, and then you can go and use that Open Auto Alliance certified car or Open Auto Alliance influenced car, and you can plug in whatever brand of device you want to. Because, once again, just like with watches, the entire Android Auto experience is driven by the phone. You can hot swap your phone. You can take your phone out, someone else can plug their phone in, and all of the Android Auto stuff, it will no longer have your information in it. It's now completely customized to their phone. And that's really great. And right now, even though the only thing we're seeing is Android Auto on these Open Auto Alliance cars, it would be really great if we could see iOS be able to plug into the same cars as Android can, so that we don't have to worry about buying a car that supports our phone. Because really, you shouldn't have to worry about matching up your phone to your car. Even if you want a car that connects to all phones, it really should be universal. Next, we have Android TV. And once again, it brings Android functionality to TVs. Now, I'd like to take a moment to remember the Nexus Q. And the Nexus Q was an interesting little device that Google made a while ago, and it competed with the Apple TV. And apparently it didn't do very well because they discontinued it and pretended like it never existed. But basically, it let you stream music and some video over your network, controlled by your Android phone. Now we've got Android TV, and Android TV does have to be built into TVs. It is not a set-top box. It is, once again, like built into TVs. You have to go out and buy a TV with Android already installed. You sign in with your Google account, and you use your phone, not like browsing through a list on your phone and tapping something and your TV plays it, but you actually just use your phone as like a D-pad. Like, you've got arrows and select buttons on your phone, but all the information is actually on the TV. And that's different from like Apple TV, where you can actually scroll through a list of things on your phone and then play it on the Apple TV. No, the list itself is on the TV. Your phone's just buttons. Kind of like Android Auto, the UI is large with large texts. There's a lot more information on the screen, obviously, on the TV than there would be on Android Auto. On the TV, you've got, lists of media, lots and lots of pictures. Your watch can control your TV through your phone if you want to. So if you've got an Android TV and an Android phone and an Android watch, then you can use your watch as a remote control. And if you push a button on your watch, it'll send the signal to your phone, it'll send the signal to your TV. And yeah, you can do that. It looks like you can use third-party game controllers or phones and tablets as remotes for game on the TV. So it looks like an Xbox controller they were using to demonstrate a game on Android TV, but someone else on the same game, one person was using what looked like an Xbox controller, another person was using a tablet to play in the same game at the same time. So that's interesting. And from what it looked like on the TV, it looks like, think Xbox Live indie games. Obviously these are not going to be full title games. These are not going to be console rivaling games. But they're going to be small games, the simple games that don't have a lot of programming to them, but are probably addicting in some way. Now, Chromecast was also mentioned in this keynote, and it has continued gaining apps apparently, and now mobile and web apps can be made into TV apps for Chromecasts very easily. People can now control your Chromecast without being on the same Wi-Fi network as you. So if a friend comes over, instead of just telling him your Wi-Fi password, you now have to add his email address to the list of allowed people to control your TV. Wait, it's the other way around. Instead of having to add him to the Wi-Fi network, you can just add him to the list of it. Really, adding him to a list is not going to be any easier than letting him connect to your Wi-Fi network. Like if you're in a separate location altogether, that's the only added functionality you're getting from this. Chromecast now has a feature called Backdrop, and what that lets you do is that lets your TV be used as a picture frame when you're not using it for watching TV. So throughout the day, instead of turning your TV off and saving power, you can use up electricity and heat and have a 44-inch picture frame in your living room. And you can control the pictures on that, or you can have them pulled in from Google's hot images of, landscapes and pretty nature and whatever. Now, I hope that that's also available on Android TV. And I've also got a question for Google. What is the difference between Chromecast and Android TV? Why not make them one and the same? How about Chromecast adds Android TV to non-Android TVs? Because that way, you've got all the features on any TV you want, or you can get one with it built in. Why do they need to make those separate platforms? And what happens if you plug a Chromecast into an Android TV? Is Chromecast a light version of the Android TV? Does it have more features? Does it have less features? Does it have separate features? Would there even be a purpose to putting a Chromecast in an Android TV? I think that this is going to be massively fragmented. One last new feature to Chromecast is something that was really requested. You can now cast your entire Android screen to your TV, and very low latency. You can play like games and videos and things, and it won't load on the TV first. It'll load on your phone and send your phone screen to your TV, and it's actually pretty fast from what it looks like, so that's nice. Pretty sure we already had that with iOS and Apple TV, so it's nice that you can cast whatever you want. You can cast websites and things to the TV if you want to show other people what's on your screen. Chromebooks can now unlock when your phone is near. Just like your phone can unlock when your watch is near, you can now set Chromebooks to not require a password when your phone is near. And that way, if someone steals it, it'll require a password, but day to day, when your phone's in your pocket, your Chromebook will not require a password for you. Once again, I see the use of that. Once again, seamlessness, text messages and notifications from your Android phone now appear on Chrome OS, just like Apple's continuity makes iOS notifications and text messages show up on Macs. Note once again that this has no use for Linux users. If Google built this seamless stuff into Chrome OS, that would be huge. That would make me switch back from Firefox back to Google Chrome on Linux, and it might make people switch back to Google Chrome on Mac, and it might make people switch back to Google Chrome on Windows. If they added the ability to see notifications and text messages from your Android phone just to the Chrome browser. That would really win them the browser war, because it's multi-platform, unlike Safari and Apple's continuity. Those are not multi-platform. This is interesting. Android apps from your phone can now run on Chrome OS like native apps. And this is interesting. It seems like programs have come full circle. First, we had programs. You install them on your desktop computers or your laptop computers. Install these programs locally. And then we had programs that upload information to the internet. And now we've got programs that are constantly pulling information to and from the internet. And now we've got web apps. And web apps are the new thing. We don't want native programs you have to install anymore. Now everything's on the internet. And next we had native mobile apps. And now you don't want web apps anymore. Web apps are the past. We need native apps, but only for mobile devices. And finally, now we have Google pushing again for more web apps. For some reason, and also they have now made native apps on the mobile device, native apps on your desktop. So once again, we totally phased out desktop native apps, and now we just made them new again. Except this time they're Android apps, so they only do one purpose at a time. Some interesting things for workplaces. Operating system level data separation between corporate and personal apps on your phone is possible, so you can have a work mode and a home mode, or you don't even have to have modes. You can set, let's say, Gmail and Quick Office be work apps, and whenever you go into there, then it signs into your work Google account, and then whenever you have the games open, then it signs into your home Google account. Very useful if you use the same device for home and work. I could see that being useful for bring your own device culture, so you don't have to use one phone for work and one phone for home. You can use the same phone everywhere, and it can be phone of your choosing rather than the phone of your work's choosing. Now that is included in both Android L and in an Ice Cream Sandwich app. So if you've got older versions of Android all the way back to Android 4.0, you can download an app and get the same feature. Once again, we're seeing them push new features out through Google Play services and through separate apps rather than in the Android OS itself. Here's something. Google Docs editors now have native Office editing, and that means you can upload a Word document and edit it without converting it into Google Docs format. Thank you. Now, if you don't remember, a while ago, Apple made iWork free, and in response to Apple making iWork free on iOS, Google went and bought the company QuickOffice. And QuickOffice used to be a paid app on the Google Play Store, but now it's free. So Google owned QuickOffice and Google owned Google Drive, and I never knew, what am I supposed to use? Am I supposed to use QuickOffice? Am I supposed to use Google Drive? Well, apparently the answer was, if you're using Google Drive formats, if you're using Google Docs, Google Presentation formatting, then you can use the Google Drive apps or the Google Docs apps, because those are separate too now for some reason. And then if you're using Word files and PowerPoint files, if you're using Microsoft formats, then you would open those up in QuickOffice. Now we don't need QuickOffice anymore. So let's see how much longer that sticks around on the App Store, now that you can just open those things straight with Google Drive. And Google Drive Online also has native Office editing, of course, because if you add it to the app, it's inherently added to online anyway. So like if you upload a Word document to your Google Drive, you can edit it in Google Docs without converting it to Google Docs format. It can stay in that .doc or that .docx format. You can edit it right there. I think that's really helpful, especially for people who use Microsoft in the workplace or in schools. And this is kind of big. Google Drive for Work has unlimited storage for Google Drive, $10 per user per month. So that's going to be something that companies pay for, not individuals. But yeah, companies can now have unlimited storage on Google Drive. It'll be interesting to see if anyone tries to take advantage of this, storing large files that aren't related to Google Drive at all, and what Google does about it. The next few things are just mainly for developers. Google has the Cloud Platform, which is server-side hosting and computing for web apps and websites, and that is nothing new at all. That's been around for a while. Now, however, you can use client-side programming to do server-side things without having to set the server-side up at all. So you can put into your client-side program, if I understand this correctly, you can write save to cloud and then pull from cloud and not have to set up an actual cloud. It'll just go into your developer account and the cloud will be set up automatically based on the client-side code. And that's pretty big, because right now, if you want to have an app that stores high scores or anything like that, or that stores pretty much any information that's not just locally on the device, you do have to set up a server side. You have to set up the server by yourself. And this will probably make it easier for people to make interconnected, powerful apps that utilize the web. Also, an interesting thing is you can debug apps real time while they're running in production. You can edit code online in a web browser, and there's kind of an online editor for code in your Google apps, your Google Cloud Platform apps, and it's interesting. There's a lot of new analytics through cloud monitoring, and Cloud Data Flow is a new tool that can help apps deal with big data, graphing and plotting large amounts of information, such as tweets relating to a certain topic. Google also announced Google Fit, which is basically Google's response to Apple's Health Kit. And Google Fit is a set of APIs that manages fitness data between apps and devices. Once again, just like HealthKit. HealthKit on iOS takes any fitness-related apps and pulls all the information into one single HealthKit app. Now we've got Google Fit, which will take any fitness-related Android apps and pull them all into one single Android app. Google did stress that you can choose what apps share information with Google Fit and what apps don't, and that you can delete your fitness information at any time when you want to, and I think that's really important. Next, we've got Google Play Games, which is basically like Apple's Game Center, and we all know how well that turned out. Google Play Games keeps track of your game achievements and progress across devices. So your high scores and things, any achievements the people build in. Now remember, developers have to include the Google Play Games APIs in their apps for this to work. Because on iOS, we all saw before Game Center, which did the same thing for iOS, before Game Center, developers made their own high score networks that you could use to share high scores between devices, between games. And then when Game Center was added, not all developers switched over. Some developers said, no, I'm going to stick with my self-developed high score system and my self-developed achievement system. And so that's why Game Center failed, is because it didn't work for a whole lot of popular games out there. So should developers choose to use it, Google Play Games will keep track of scores and achievements. And this is pretty big, save your progress. I absolutely hate right now, if I play a game on my phone and then I pick it up on my tablet, then it will not save my progress. And if I reflash my phone or I reflash my tablet, I lost a world in Minecraft Pocket Edition on this tablet. And it was not a large world, but Minecraft Pocket Edition has really horrible controls. So I was proud of that world. And I lost it because I reflashed this device to a newer version of Paranoid Android. And I'm pretty sure I could have saved it if I had tried, but now you don't need to try at all. Now you don't need to worry about saving games to files. Google's cloud will automatically keep your place in games. That is great. Once again, should developers choose to implement that, and I certainly hope they will. And lastly, we've got a few miscellaneous features such as more continuity, or seamlessness as Google called it, and your tablet can now buy things and charge those through the phone bill. So if you buy apps on Google Play on your phone and charge those payments to your phone bill, you can now do the same thing on your tablet if you've got an Android phone and an Android tablet, and you had that set up in the first place. Now, I'd like to point out that every developer at Google I/O got some free stuff, and Apple developers don't get free stuff. Google I/O developers still have to pay a yearly fee, just like Apple developers do. But every developer that went to Google I/O got a free cardboard, which if you don't know what cardboard is, that's a little too expansive to go into in this video, but everyone got a free cardboard. They got a free, their choice of an LG watch or a Samsung watch. I forget the names at the moment, I'm sorry. And everyone, in addition to their choice of an LG watch or a Samsung watch, also gets a Motorola 360 when it comes out, Moto 360. And that is pretty big. And here's why that's big, and here's why that's smart. Because if developers don't have these devices, then they are not going to develop for them. They're going to say, well, I don't have that device. It doesn't look interesting. I don't want to spend my own money on the device, so of course I'm not going to buy it just to develop on it. And then people will say, oh, well, there's no apps available for that device. Why would I ever get that device? However, by giving developers these devices for free, they are guaranteeing that developers will develop for them. Because if the developers have the tools, then there's absolutely no reason for them not to develop for them, considering all the different ways that developers can monetize these apps. And people will buy those devices because there's apps on the devices. So yeah, by giving all those developers those devices, that is guaranteeing that the developers will develop for the devices, and that will probably get more people to buy the devices in the future. However, you have to think, if the developers weren't going to buy those devices in the first place, are the devices even good enough to be worthy of app development? Are the developers developing on this platform because it's a good platform, or are they just developing because Google gave them free stuff? Either way, it's clear we're going to be seeing lots of new apps for these devices, and there's a lot of changes coming to Android in the near future. So like I said, a lot of the stuff in Android L and the newer versions of iOS seem like they're just re-theming. It seems like there's not a lot of features. It's just all theming, like I said. Like you could go on Android and change your theme. We could have had half of these new features just by changing our theme and installing a couple apps. iOS, you could not change your theme, but if you wanted to be able to change the theme, you should have gotten an Android device in the first place. So I do think that Apple and Google both need to remember when they are incrementing their version counters, you do that when you add new features, not just when you add new themes. But yeah, as you can tell, there are still quite a few features that they did add in these past few releases that we've seen from Google and Apple. So yeah, if there's anything you have to say about the stuff that Google released recently or the stuff that Apple released recently, head on over to nerdonthestreet.com and join our forums. And we've got different forum threads for tablets and phones and stuff. And yeah, just let us know what your thoughts are if you have any questions. But until next time, that is all I have to talk about today. I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm Nerd on the Street, and I will see you guys later. See ya.